Hello, good day to everyone who is attending our webinar today. The topic is quite hot on the news everywhere, but as well much more in the people in manufacturing, sustainability. We have exciting guest speaker today. This is Raul, but just one word about me and Fabrico. I'm Blagovesta Pugova. I'm one of the founders and leaders in Fabrico. I'm passionate about lean maintenance and efficiency and therefore sustainability. Fabrico is a software which is focused on efficiency in manufacturing in terms that we help manufacturing companies optimize their machinery and the efficiency and maintenance of their machines. Thank you, Raul, for joining us today. Raul is one of the strong voices of sustainability in Central and Eastern Europe and also globally. He has extensive experience in sustainability as well as real estate. In the past years, he's advising a lot of companies and government organizations on topics of sustainability. He's also one of the key advisors on sustainability for Ernst & Young and also part of the REM Real Estate Market Advisory Group at the UN. And happy to have you here. The floor is yours, Raul.
Thank you, Blagovesta, and thank you for bringing me in. It's very interesting to be close to the people who provide solutions, because what we do usually, and I'm talking already about the work in consulting, is that we try to showcase to the people what sustainability can bring to them. But I think sometimes we forget that there is a practical implementation of everything we do, and solutions like yours are very interesting for making a better use of resources. So I have prepared some information, basically a small presentation to go through, not to lose too much track on the time and to make sure that the people will get something to them. Yes, what you're saying just about a little bit about the background. I'm coming from real estate, but now working in consulting, focusing on real assets and for better use of resources. Basically, this is what we call sustainability. So efficiency and sustainability, as you will see now, I'm putting them together to make the mental link between what it is to be sustainable and to be efficient, which in the end is the same thing. So without further ado, I'm going to use one of those presentations that we love so much in the consulting business. Please let me know if you see the screen well. Yep, okay. So, sorry, I don't know if it comes a little bit, it comes with a strange setup because maybe the platform is doing something on it. But anyway, what I wanted to start with is with a little bit of taxonomy on talking about the aspects of sustainability and efficiency, and then linking it to the practice of any economic practice or any manufacturing practice for the matter today. I want to, without having to read the slides, I will probably not do, but I think it's important to see that we are looking into time, into resources, and into the ways of doing things better. I think on that, the definitions of sustainability and efficiency come very close. You proposing an efficiency solution is very useful for me proposing a sustainability strategy. But at the bottom of everything, and I'm putting it in here, one thing that I want the people to understand is that in sustainability, we're not trying the people to stop doing the things they do. We want them to do the things a little bit better so that it still makes economic sense to them and doesn't stop their activities. Now, an efficient solution is actually doing that. So I want to make sure that people understand here, when you hear the people in sustainability consulting or sustainability engineering coming to you, they're not wanting to stop you. They wanted you to find solutions that help you make things better. So one of the things that we are trying to showcase always, and you will see later how we do the management of sustainability agendas for the companies, is to showcase values. What is the value that you can get when you start doing, or when you start embedding sustainability? When you start thinking about how I make my company be better, have a more sustainable future, because not only is the future for the company, it's also the future for the rest, or not only the future for the environment and society, it's also the future of the company. And we propose some values that are quite evident. I will say this is logical, it's intuitive, but as you see in any of those 4 sets of values, I'm putting in capital letters here: compliance, perception, resilience, and efficiency. Compliance, because we know that the driver of sustainability today is the legislation. We know that there are legislative measures at the European level that keep on pushing companies to do things that maybe they will not do naturally, because companies are usually prone, or they're already accustomed to do financial reporting, to showcase what are their numbers, their figures, how are they profitable or not. And now we also want them to showcase how do they come to those numbers. So what are the non-financial aspects that need to be taken into account? And this is because if you are able to do to analyze your own company and understand how you make the business, you will be also able to improve the business. So compliance is important in that part. And also because we know that it's not always an ethical approach, or it's not always a proactive approach. It's sometimes a reactive approach. So it's also important to understand that the companies need to comply with the law. The law is there, so we are trying to help them comply with the law. Then perception, of course, is something that has been the driver for many companies. They want to be perceived as green. Hence, many people have been talking about how green they are, and then we found out that they were not so green, the so-called greenwashing. Now we're actually seeing the opposite. People are not saying what they do because there's certain politicians that are telling them that by doing this, maybe you're losing competitiveness. So we're seeing now greenwashing. But it's true that there will be a perception of what you do. You will gain certifications that will showcase to your market target that you are better, or you are at least committing to certain standards that are more sustainable. So perception is a very strong tool. Then resilience, because one of the most interesting parts of this work, and this is how I came into sustainability, is to understand that your activities could be at risk. You may be doing activities with certain resources, like for instance, water or sand, that depend on the climate. Climate is changing, so maybe your activity will change. If you don't understand how the climate is going to impact you, and you don't have a good definition of those risks, it's going to be difficult for you first to calibrate correctly the amount of money you're paying for insurance. So we can help you, or a better definition of your risk can help you financially to define a better the risk that you are proposing or you are showing to your insurers. But at the same time, you can create a stronger and robust supply chain, because you understand what are the risks coming in your supply chain. So you will understand, or you will have pathways to get out of these risks, or to comply with your targets on production without having to jeopardize because you didn't take into account that maybe what you use could be stopped because of any kind of happening of climatic risk that is happening. And then, of course, all of this has to transfer into efficiency, because through efficiency, we can directly transfer into financial value. Of course, a more efficient use of your resources, be it the time that your machines or your people are doing in your factories, is a better time it's a time that you're not paying. So when you look into maintenance, for instance, I know Fabrico is looking specifically on that, and this is actually quite exciting. You have the potential to use better the time that the machines are working, and to use better all the time of the people around there. That has a lot of value, and this is something that, of course, we propose as cost cutting and savings, but at the same time, it can also improve the way that you are using the resources that you already get. So I think the direct value here is there. If you think about it, all those values are always there. Now, we always need to find the driver, so that then we can move into the into the strategies to create a strategy for you to become more sustainable. One of the things that is happening lately, and I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it, but I think people will know about this, is that on compliance, on the very last week of February, we got the omnibus out from the European Commission, telling us how they wanted to cut the burdens on the 4 specific streams of work that we are promoting to understand the sustainability of the companies. First of all, towards the CSRD, the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, that has been already implemented in many countries. Sometimes it's implemented through accounting legislation. In other places, it has been embedded already, transposed to local legislations directly. But this was obliging companies that were meeting certain thresholds to submit very specifically defined sustainability report or non-financial report. There is already enough information in the financial statements of the company. So whether you do CSRD or not, you have already a lot of information to disclose. But this was more thorough because it was looking at the larger companies, the companies that had more than 1,000 employees and a certain threshold on their balance sheet and the net revenue that they were creating. So this has been stopped for now. It's been reviewed. Right now, it's being reviewed. And we will have probably a few days or even weeks where the Parliament has to discuss what will be then transferred into the legislation. Still, the companies are reporting, and it's important that if you have already started reporting, you continue to do that. Because as you probably know, there is a lot of things that you need to do to make sure that the report, and one of them is to gather all the data points. So if you've started, please don't stop. If you have not started, please think about it because it takes time to get ready. So let's say that this omnibus will delay a little bit the implementation, but not so much that you cannot start working already. At the same time, as I was talking about, there is a specific legislation created for the due diligence on your supply chain. This was proposed to create more robust supply chains that will not disrupt the economies. So we were trying to help the companies understand where they had the impacts and also that to define the risks. This again has also been or is being reviewed, and it will be simplified in a way. But again, if you're not doing it, consider it, because I think making a good definition of your supply chain and understanding what are the risks and the opportunities in your supply chain, it's an important part. Whether you are going to use it for sustainability or for efficiency, you need to do it. Then there are 2 more practical approaches to sustainability. One, the EU taxonomy alignment, which, as you probably know, helps you understand which of your activities could be financed as sustainable. This is already being used by many companies to approach their investors and to approach their finance, because it's a very straightforward way of understanding your capex and your opex, and what part of your capex and your opex is already contributing to your climate change adaptation or to the transformation of the companies as well. And these exercises are done already more in a voluntary way, because usually when you go to the banks right now, they're asking you for the alignment. Also because the bank do have to commit to certain ratio in their balance sheet on what they're investing in, which is called the green asset ratio. So for them, it's important that you submit to them this information. And then the last but not the least was this carbon border adjustment mechanism, which has been created to make a more balanced and fair understanding of where the carbon footprint comes from and how to balance between countries. Because people were saying, okay, we don't have a carbon footprint because we don't produce anything here. Yeah, okay, but you import all those goods that are coming from somewhere and they have a carbon footprint somewhere else. So this is how this mechanism is basically adjusting in your supply chain and in your value chain the real carbon footprint, and of course creating a tax that you have to pay so that you also balance the impacts that you have on that. Again, this is also being reviewed, but most likely, as I said, despite of the simplification on those measures, we will still see a lot of the information that needs to be delivered remaining. Maybe companies will not be, there will not be as many companies, or the thresholds will change. They have already been proposed for a change. But as I said before, we're not going to be talking today about compliance. Compliance is one of the values. I know and I understand that a solution like Fabrico, or for that matter, efficiency, it's also part of the reports that you have to do. And you will see, I'm making later on a bit of a remark on how this is an opportunity for you. So without moving into this, for sure we can give more information about compliance and sustainability reporting and all these streams of work later on if you want to. So the opportunity that we see here actually is that when we look into two of those streams, especially into reporting and the taxonomy, having an efficient use of your resources is an opportunity that not everybody is using. But I think for manufacturers, it's important to understand that if you have a better use of a technology that provides you with more efficiency, this is something that you can report in your opportunities. You know, there is a part of the report that tackles the impacts, risk, and opportunities, and in there, the embedding of an efficiency solution is something important. So I think that's already a direct impact on some solutions towards your reporting. At the same time, one of the logical outcomes of using an efficiency solution or being more efficient is that you reduce the use of a resource that is most important, which is energy. Also, the use of time. So that has already direct impact on your activities and then on your EU taxonomy alignment reports. Then I'm again telling a little bit about how the omnibus can help or make a little bit more practical approach to sustainability today. Again, I think this is very intuitive, so it's not needed to spend too much time around it. Important though, from these 3 points, enhancing competitiveness and compliance, of course, is important. We want to have better companies doing better manufacturing and being a bit more efficient. The innovation part is very important. Companies like Fabrico bring something that was not there before. And we are seeing, or at least I have seen in the little knowledge that I have about this solution, that there is already some KPIs that can be used to showcase, and on the one side, what is the economic effect of being more efficient and how it brings it together. But with the same importance, if not more, it helps us understand in a more transparent way what is the use of those resources. So I think having good technologies that gives us these evidences is very important for our work as consultants and for the standing of the companies as users of the resources and for their own compliance. This is more or less the same thing, saying it in a different way, so I'm not going to get there. But one thing that is important here in the EU taxonomy, one thing that we are trying to do in the reduction of the use of energy, or to make it that we always propose a 2-layer approach. One is reducing the amount of energy that you use, if you can, and then is replacing it with a more sustainable source. You may have heard about PPAs, and you, of course, have heard about photovoltaics and solar generated energy. So the first part, the part on the reduction, is something that we see directly linked to efficiency for the taxonomy. Again, for reporting on the opportunities narratives is important. Enough about reporting, enough about compliance. Let's talk about sustainability and efficiency. And I want to make a small view on how sustainability and efficiency is linked to efficiency in the use of the resources towards the output of the companies. In a more simple way, for those in manufacturing, this is even primitive. we know that the problem is that at some point per per unit of resource, we were not even to get 1 unit of an output of what we were needing. So we were not efficient in the use of resources. Then throughout history and with industrial revolutions, we became more and more efficient. So much more that at some point we decided that we could use the resources infinitely. And we have been actually depleting the, the earth from the resources. And now we have a problem that we don't have enough resources, or we believe that we don't have enough resources. In any case, the way to know that we can go back to use the resources to have the same output that we had before can only be done by the use of technology. And here's where part of the sustainability proposals, especially those on circular economy, come in handy, because we need to understand how to better use those resources to get the same output, and maybe to recycle and to get it back to the value chain of the companies. So here's where I think the link is it's already more evident than anywhere else. Then another aspect that we need to consider when we talk about efficiency and when we talk about sustainability, and this links all the values, is the concept of double materiality. How the use of resources, or how the activities of your company are affecting the ecosystem, the environment, the societal part, basically your ecosystem, and how that is also affecting you. This is something that we do analyze in something called the double materiality assessment, or DMA. And it's something that for the evidences that you need to give, even to yourself, to understand how you do in your business, whether you're doing it better or worse, it's important to take into account, because there are risks of you not being operating with the resources that you need to operate with, or in the places where you need to operate. And we know now, we are seeing it unfortunately lately, there's a lot of climate related disasters that are stopping some companies from working. From the flood that could happen and could completely destroy your machinery, for instance, in manufacturing, to the problems that we have with transport due to storms. And this is a direct impact of the environment and the ecosystem into your activity. But then we also see how there are some disasters, like the oil tankers that wrecked in the seas, or fires produced by maluse of some activities. So this exercise is actually quite important. And it's good to do this definition for the companies, so that the companies themselves understand what will be this relationship between what they do and what is the environment around them. So how do we propose the companies to become more sustainable? And there is already something that is simple, it's straightforward, it's kind of universal now, and it has been proposed by the Global Compact, which is a sustainability management roadmap for companies. And what you see here, I'm explaining a little bit more in here, which is that without taking into account zero, which is the start of everything, understanding what is going on around yourself, what your peers and competitors are doing, what your stakeholders want from you. So basically where you are. Sometimes what we do is that we copy what our competitors are doing or what our clients are telling us to do. But this is not part of the agenda. This is part of why you think you should be doing it. But then your agenda starts in number one, which is to define the goal. And to define the goal, when you look into the value, and we can look into that slide where I have 4 groups of values, you need to define what is the goal that brings you to sustainability. How do you think that this is going to affect you, and whether this is for you compliance matter, whether it is an efficiency matter, an economic matter, perception and reputation matter, or do you have it embedded in a way that is an ethical way? Some companies are, or some people within the companies think that they need to do it. So this goal will help you basically attain or create the finish point for you to say, okay, I want to get there. Once you know this, and this, you have to move into analyzing yourself. So we move into number 2, which is a gap analysis and analysis of the company, and within the analysis of the company, the analysis of the supply chain and the activities of the company. And once you have that, you know where you want to go, you know what you are, and you need to get from where you want to go to where you are. So you need to create a strategy. And this is the third point. This is something that for us in consulting is very important, because there we are going to make a lot of discoveries for you. And once we have the strategy with all the steps, you know, to tell you how you can come from A to Z, we have to start looking into the solutions. And here's where I put already some more effort into what is today's topic, which is efficiency and solutions to provide efficiency, because these solutions are something that the companies need to look for. The companies know where they want to go, they have a strategy, and they come to us and say, how do we do this? Who is going to do this for me? Who is going to help me embed circularity? Who's going to help me decrease the time of maintenance, for instance? And this is, for us, very important to find companies who, like Fabrico, will have a solution. So we tell them, look, this is, you need to do it. You need to make a better use of your resources, person time or human time and energy, for instance. So find somebody who can help you, or you have to develop it yourself. That's where the technologies come in. Then, of course, you, on the fifth point, once you have already started embedding solutions, you want to measure yourself against the standards. So that's when the people comes to the certifications. Sometimes people comes to certifications without being ready. So they have to do this anyway to make sure that they can deliver all the information they need to deliver. Once you get the certifications, which is more a market thing in a way, but it's also a quality thing, what we always tell the people is that you have to communicate it. Now, the communication, which is, let's say, the equivalent of reporting, has been part of the compliance, because if we know that this is the final step and we make this compulsory, we make it obligatory, people will have to do the other five, whether they like it or not. And of course, when companies start reporting, if they're obliged to, if they will find that they're not as sustainable as they thought, or maybe more than what they thought. But the good thing is that at least they need to start doing it, and they need to find whether or not they have the information. And a company like Fabrico will provide you with a technology. We see that this provides a technology where you have KPIs, where you have qualitative data that will serve us to do the reporting. So that's why I put here solutions, because I think for manufacturers having a solution is important, and also on the part of the compliance/reporting, because you will get qualitative or quality data that is harmonized, that is public, that is coming to you in a way that you can actually understand what is the impact of what you're doing and what's the impact in your supply chain. So if in a, let's say, in a larger way, or in a high level look at this, what we have is three groups of activities that we do always. It's the analysis and calibration, when we need to understand the peers and competitors, your goals, and make the gap analysis and assessment of the company. Then we do the strategies and start acting, and then we do verifications and report. Of course, this is not everything starts and finishes in let's say, in a moving line. It's so the whole thing overlaps in a way. But most importantly, I guess for today, and I'm going to start challenging Blagovesta and Fabrico here as hosts. You know, I also have questions for them. We see here that as a solution, Fabrico is already proposing some things. We've looked into this together, but I think this is where Blagovesta comes in and can tell us a little bit more of what you propose in the solution as an efficiency solution / sustainable solution.
Yes, thank you, Raul. I would first refer to your remark on the economic effect, which is actually the ultimate goal of having a solution as Fabrico. Because what we do is that Fabrico provides a platform for maintenance management. So it is a communication platform for all the technicians and all the operators who are working with those machines, and how they maintain it, with the ultimate goal to reduce downtime. We also offer an OE solution, which is overall equipment effectiveness solution, which upgrades the maintenance processes to the level that gives overall KPIs, which are the guiding light of the manufacturing people in many factories with which we work, and also recently in the past years it's very actively used as a core KPI, and also it's part of the lean methodology to analyze the availability, performance, and quality of the output of the machines. So with this background of what we do, our ultimate goal is actually to reduce downtime, which can be evaluated and calculated in terms of what is the efficiency effect. As the reporting is usually part of the financial reporting, non-financial reporting of the annual statements of a company, then every accountant can calculate what is the effect of reducing the downtime by 10% per year, or the unplanned downtime with 50%, which is usually in terms of hundreds of thousands of euros for the larger plants. So with this thing set, the ultimate effects of using Fabrico for sure bring energy efficiency. So as I like to say, you don't have this idle time of the machinery. You don't have people running around and wondering what to do. You don't have time waiting for the supplies, or at least you know if this is the issue. Then you have the labor optimization, which especially in the CMMS part is, I would say, 100% solved. Because our work is to make the job and the everyday work of the technical team to be so fluent that you don't lose any time because of loss of communication somewhere on the line. Of course, material utilization, I don't even count the paper, but you have all the processes digital and they're even more secure, but you remove the need of, in one big factory, it's actually a lot of work orders per day that go into paper. And the bigger effect, and economically bigger effect, is the raw materials that you can, within the OE, you can analyze if a certain loss has been triggered by a certain problem, and you can address this and reduce the raw materials invested. Of course, when you take care of your equipment, then it lives longer and serves longer, so you don't need to change it so much, which is a long-term effect, and of course requires some vision to think about it, but it is important. Production, and the ultimate effect actually of reducing downtime and increasing OE is actually achieving bigger production capacity and supply chain sustainability as well, because if a small factory stops working, then the next one in the supply chain is also affected. This is why also, as you mentioned, the reporting relates also to the supply chain, and you should report from whom you buy, not only what you produce and what you do. And the ultimate goal is to reduce carbon footprint, of course, but it is a KPI which is not easy every time, because it's difficult to estimate the exact effect every time. We've been also in talks with our clients who are subject to audits or certification, who need to estimate the economic effect, and we're working together to provide them additional information, for example, or enhance the visibility and analytics parts, so they can have a better view, which is also an opportunity. But we provide the data to report this, and the data related to the machines is in fact a huge amount of the effects in carbon footprint coming in manufacturing.
I think the effect is clear. One thing that perhaps, Blagovesta, you could tell me a little bit more in this, not to literate in this world of technological solutions. No, or I think OEEs are also very important when it comes to the final quality of goods. And this is something that for us is important because we reduce waste. So it's not only the reducing of carbon footprint, not only the reduction of the resources, the use of resources, but also that the outputs are with better quality. So is that something that
Yes, it provides a tool and resources to look closely at every item that you are producing. And also, in the case that there is a problem, you zoom in into the problem. It's a bit like a Kaizen approach, but you zoom into the issue and you start exploring what could be the reason. And definitely the ultimate effect is less waste, which is total loss of resources of the whole factory. If you have waste in 1 hour, you lost 1 hour, and not only the working time but also the raw materials invested in this waste.
yeah, and the energy to transform it. Okay, good. This is actually very important as well in the KPIs that need to be basically showcased in the reporting in any kind of all those four reporters. So that's a very important part.
Yes, for us it will be difficult to reduce the waste, but we give the exact spot where the waste was generated, and you can zoom in and change it, which is the starting point of the process.
You prevent it, which is always so good. So I think I wanted to also move and challenge you a little bit on the part of the reporting because of the data quality. And this already I'm putting it thinking, if I were working with a company that you're already working, can I go to the company and telling, hey, how do we work on the reporting? Can you give me all those data? How do I link to the systems? Which systems are you using that I can also look into? And do I have all this information so I can, maybe produce the report? But not only that, because as you know, there is also limited assurance that needs to be provided to those reports. And this is also our work. So for me, it will make life much easier that I know that I can look into whatever information is coming from the supply, from the manufacturing lines, and I understand what's happening with the resources. So what?
Yes, exactly. It is one of the core descriptions of our solution is what we use is that Fabrico provides accumulates and gives the machine master data. So if you start from the maintenance and the state and the quality of the machines at a certain moment, it is upgraded with the OEE function, which is a full analysis of the flow of how the machine is produced. So we go from the grounds. Is the machine available? Is it performing fast enough, or is it slow? So we need also to interfere, and is it giving the right output? With this data collected there, and we know all the information and manage the work orders of the people who are working with those machines. So we are limiting the risk factors related to the machines, but we also collect the data related to the machines. So you can zoom in together. What we've seen before, like we started as a CMS solution, and now we have the OEE. We work like some of our clients had been following their OEE results in a separate way, and they usually see what are the results. When the results fall, they go and zoom in into Fabrico to analyze what was the reason to call. So it is quite extensive data, and now we produce it as a whole. It is also, as I already mentioned, an instrument to identify the issues and where you should focus, because on staying on the site, you might think, oh, this machine is causing a lot of problems. It's always breaking, but it might turn out that the issue is somewhere else, and there are like 100 ways that other reasons that you might be missing if you don't have the system to overview. Of course, this always works with integration with other systems. Most of our clients use SAP because they're usually big manufacturers who are quite digital. Also, digitalizing the full process of machines reduces the time needed to invest. But I also like to say usually that it is if a process is too difficult to record, then it will probably give you untrue information. Because someone will not have the time to report, and then if you have 10 people out of 1,000 factory not reporting something, you're probably working with the wrong information. So one of our key philosophies is to focus on usability and good UX. So the people on the shop floor, the ones who are working with the machines, the technicians who need to run from the one hole of the factory to the other one, uh, are not having troubles working with it, and this is what we have as a result. And of course, once you have all this information, it's easier to comply, to report, and to comply with the requirements of the directive, and also you can do better decisions for the future.
Yeah, I think in here we're together in what we said about the definition of risk. If you think about the risk that you have in your supply chain, that you're not efficient enough, and you have a good definition of that because you have good data, then for the companies, a better way of looking into everything. They know better themselves. And for the sustainability consultants, it's a better way of understanding how to report on this and not making sure that whatever we do, whether we're doing the report of the assurance on the report of somebody else, it's a much robust data set. And this is very, very important. Yeah. Good. So I think we're almost where we wanted to be with time. I think we put here a little bit of everything together. So I don't know if there's anybody in the audience that would like to pose any question or I mean, we are going to be, of course, reachable in LinkedIn, and they can direct questions. I don't know if we want to make the presentation available to the people, but I think they can reach out to us and have it. There is a background also on the omnibus in this presentation with a backup on information. But if there is anybody who wants to now use the opportunity on the few minutes that we have left, maybe we can answer, or maybe there is another question from your side, Blagovesta.
Yeah, I can jump in with one more practical example to just hear your opinion, and not opinion, but as we mentioned, also supply chain, etc. If we go into a simple case where, for example, I am a producer in automotive in Poland, and for example, I'm not covered by the CSRD requirements. What should I do? Like, what is the practical way of me as a production manager, or should I wait for the accounting to come and ask me for this reporting? How this happens in practice in the real world? What questions have you met also from your clients, and what are the key practical problems?
Yeah, I can link to the very first part of the cycle on the goals. Because I probably will answer with a question and say, why are you doing this? If it is a compliance part, maybe you can wait. I mean, taking now into account that the omnibus is changing a little bit the scope. But I will say, don't wait too long. And not waiting too long means not even months, because you will have to report one way or the other. Maybe you don't report as such in a big CSRD report, but trust me, there is going to be either a client or a financial partner or the market itself that is going to tell you, well, we need to understand this. And even if that's not happening, not understanding how you produce. I mean, if you have availability of the data, you have availability of the evidences that you produce with Fabrico, and you don't make a good use of that to understand what are the risks of stopping your manufacturing, that's not very efficient of your own time and your own knowledge. If you give the knowledge already, it's much easier for them to also assess whether or not you're going to have a better or not, I mean, a more efficient or less efficient line of production, which again is money, it's insurance money, it's financing money. So I will say if we look specifically into the companies, I will probably have to charge you for this and tell you what are the topics. But if we look into the overall, I will say use the information, tell your clients to use the information and to make a good definition of the risk and see in those risks what is related to the resources they use. One resource that they always use is person hours. You had it somewhere there. I think person hours are very important because it's the biggest resource that we have in the company. So even if it is a technology company, the use of time, it's so important. And energy is always used. So these two are already KPIs that we have to assess in the reporting, but we have to assess in the efficiency of the company. And if you provide KPIs that are giving the evidences of how this is used, it's already useful for everybody. Now, of course, different companies in different places, let's say the embedment of these directives is going at different times in different places, but it's not too far away from now. I mean, even if we look into the farther ahead timeline, in a couple of years, everybody will have to start in the smaller companies to look into these KPIs. But again, when you go to the bank to ask for money to finance yourself, you can always go and say, I am an efficient company that I can show some sustainability KPIs when I do the alignment, the EU taxonomy alignment, which is not that difficult to do. It's kind of straightforward, and it shows already a position that the bank can use to provide you with financing or sometimes stop you. You have to be careful with this because we're now moving from positive screening into negative screening. And I keep on hearing from companies, look, if I don't give them this information, it's not that they don't want to give me the money, but it's that they cannot, because there is a screening on what are the activities and what are the companies that we are and are not financing. So I need to be there. So I don't know if I answered completely the question, but I think for me, you have to start. You have to start because there is a risk that you can maybe have to stop your manufacturing lines. And there is a risk that you may be paying more to the insurers than what you should, or you're paying for what is not real risk for you because you have not done this risk definition. Anyway, the part of the compliance from your partners is going to be there, and you can use this to maybe get some certifications. I know that you provide also, I can sense that you provide some ISO information, and ISO is very important because if you don't certify, you cannot go to market. So I think the whole thing kind of makes an overall case for sustainability and efficiency. That's how I see it.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Raul. It seems that it's never too early to start,
No.
and maybe also the more information you have, the better you can show how you are growing into this direction and what are the changes compared to previous years. So it is a good start. And I think I don't have any other questions. And if you have anything to add, or we can stop it here. And anyone who's interested, we are available offline or over LinkedIn. We'll be happy to continue the talks on sustainability.
That's all from me as well. Thank you so much for having me. It's very exciting to be around the real implementation people. I will look forward to your clients coming to us and say, "Hey, let's help us. You said that we could do this together, so let's see how we can do it together."
Yes,
I'll be happy to help. I see that people are very silent today. Maybe it's not the right time. People are already ending the days where you are and not yet here.
Yeah, we're also out of time, so it's okay. And thanks a lot again, and we will continue to talk on the topic. Thanks a lot.
Thank
Bye.
you so much. Thanks.
Thank
everybody.
you. Bye.
Good day.
Thanks everybody as well.